Welcome back to another episode of the Women's Hoop Show. We've got another jam-packed episode because Unrivaled is back, baby. And season 2 is already delivering new teams, rule tweaks, and even a bigger footprint. We'll get you fully caught up on what's new, what's changed, and our biggest takeaways from opening day, including recaps of all 4 games. Then we'll spotlight the standouts, who popped off immediately, who looks like a real contender, and what the early vibes say about each team. And finally, we'll hit the news roundup, the latest on the WNBA CBA negotiations, what Fee's injuries means for the Lunar Owls, and even her WNBA season potentially, and why Unrivaled is becoming such an important gathering place for players right now. All right, let's get into it. Kendra Andrews, Happy New Year!
We're so back. Oh my God, I'm so good. It is good to be back with you, let me tell you.
We have so much to yap about because we always do. And it's been a minute. It's been a while. Happy Unrivaled season 2 to you.
Thank you. And to you as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I was so excited. I think it was just something to look forward to. And I think there's been a lot of anticipation. There was so much around season 1. And coming into season 2, I think everyone just missed their favorite WNBA players. College basketball, don't get me wrong, it has been feeding us. It has been super exciting. So many upsets, but there's just something different about our favorite W players. So overall, what were you most excited about heading into season 2?
I think I was super curious to see some of it. I know we're going to dive into some of the standouts, but a lot of these new players, right? I was really interested to see Paige Bueckers, to see Kelsey Plum. I was really excited to see how that was going to go. And I was also really curious to see how Unrivaled could build upon year 1, because I think one of the reasons why everyone was so excited about season 1 of Unrivaled is because it was new. It was exciting. It's the new, like, hot kid on the block. But like a year later, how you're now in competition with yourself. How do you keep one-upping yourself? And I don't know if they fully answer that in one night of games. I think that's going to be a continuous thing we have to look at throughout the season. But I that's what I'm most curious about, is how can you capitalize on everything that you built last year?
I love what you said. You're in competition with yourself because it is the new kid on the block. It was a hot, shiny new thing. But I have been surprised that momentum and that fandom is still carrying over. People are still super excited about their favorite teams. But I guess from more of the reporting side, from what you've been on the inside, what are some of those changes that they've done? Because they have made some changes. Yeah. They've listened to the players. They've listened to the fans on that experience of season 1. We did not expect it to go perfect and flawless without any bumps. What were some of those changes that they implemented for the second season?
I think the biggest change, that at least from my perspective, is the development pool, or the what they're calling the development team. They're considering it a whole different team, and that's 6 players of younger players who might be up and comers in the league. We see like a Haley Van Lith is on that team, and that was in direct response to one of the biggest problems that Unrivaled faced in its inaugural season, was the amount of injuries that held players back, whether it was from the one-on-one mid-season tournament. We saw so many players have to do that, whether it was just season-ending injuries that they couldn't participate. And with that, in the first season, it was not like panic isn't the right word, but it was an in the moment, who can we get to Miami in a day or two
immediately,
and then exactly, like plug in and say go. And with this development pool, they are living in Miami, they're training at the same facilities, and if need to be called up, they can be called up. Alex Basil, the president of Unrivaled, said yesterday in his press conference, like, there's a whole process in which the players do get called up. You have to have minimum of like 5 players active on a roster at all time. And I think that's like the biggest change and the biggest point of feedback that they then addressed. Because when you look at the rules, most of the rules are the same. You can still end a game on a free throw, which I thought they were going to change that, but alas, they did. I'm not making the rules of this league, so you can still win a game on a free throw. And also the prize money is a little bit more. So if you win,
yeah.
I say put me in, coach.
Put me in. Let me start stretching now.
Yeah.
And then maybe by next year I'll be able to get up. But yes, that prize money, what is it? The championship last year, each player got 50,000. Now it's up to 100,000 per player just for winning the championship. And I feel like night one, you could already see those vibes. People are like, okay, championship is on the brain.
Yes.
And we are trying to get there and get that money. You mentioned it, some of the newbies, the new faces, that's definitely a change. There's 2 new teams with Breeze and Hive. And I think I'm calling it now. I'm a breezy girl.
It's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
Dom getting alley-oops from Paige Bueckers all through my timeline. I'm just like, come on. I need a jersey. I'm a part of the breezy club.
It's Let's go. The future of the league all on one team. You know what I mean? Like there's like, I think I actually texted this to my sister last night watching the Breeze game. I was like, Paige Bueckers is so good. I gotta forget, but it's been a while since we watched her play.
Yep.
She is so good. It's crazy.
And she keeps getting better. Yeah. She keeps getting better. And she's packed on some muscle. That's what we're all noticing that. And people are zooming into her arms while she's playing. She talked about it last night, how the game is more physical than the WNBA because it's all the best players all in one place. But there's also new faces on other teams. I think this was a part that I was even confused on coming into season 2. And we talked about this. How were they going to mix up the teams? Were everyone going to stay on the same team? If you won the championship, or you're going to get to keep your team together? But essentially, you got to keep basically franchise tag 2 people. Then everyone else goes into a pot. And then the coaches got to draft their team, right? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And it was like, the playoffs, so there are 4 playoff teams from last year, right? The Rose, Vinyl, Lunar Owls, and I'm gonna get so much in trouble.
I know. Wait.
Laces.
It wasn't Miss. I feel like we can go from the bottom up.
Not Phantom. Yes. Okay. So it's Laces, Vinyl, Rose, Lunar Owls. Playoff teams get to protect, I think, 2 players, and then it's like the corresponding pick you miss, and then if you didn't make the playoffs, you only got to protect 1 player, I believe.
Got it. Okay.
And then the 2 new teams have the first 2 picks in the draft, so the Hive and the Breeze could select first. But it was interesting. I thought it was so interesting too, having 2 players on the live broadcast of the roster selections, because they could see in real time if they were protected. Like Aaliyah Edwards was on the call. She didn't get selected by the Lunar Owls.
I know.
And so seeing those in real time was very entertaining.
So good. I love that we're gamifying a game. Like basketball is a game, and I'm always the first person to say that it's a game. We're having fun out there. And then we find new ways to make it fresh and new. And that's what Unrivaled has done. And that's what's caught my attention first and foremost. And I love 3-on-3. I am a former play-by-play for FIBA 3-on-3. I am such a 3-on-3 girly. And so it's been fun to get back into the 3-on-3 bag. And you can see, 1, your defense is on the hot seat. Yes. You can get exposed. But then, like I feel like Paige Bueckers showed everybody, your one-on-one game is totally in the front seat, and you can show everybody what's in your bag.
I'm so curious the one-on-one competition this year, because I know we're giving Paige a lot of flowers right now, but again, based on one game, I think it's deserved. I am so curious to see how she does and these other players who have proven to be elite one-on-one players do that competition. Like, that's going to be entertaining.
It's so fun. We have to wait till the middle of February for that, but it's I had a blast last year. I wonder if they tweak and make some changes to that. I was talking to my dad about it. He was like, I feel like they should do position by position. Then it's like, okay, then you get to the end and then it's for sure going to be a guard against a post. I don't know if you do that.
Yeah.
We don't know. We're not Nafisa Collier or Brianna Stewart. They got that in the bag. But it's still fun and entertaining. And speaking of fun and entertaining, let's go into these games because opening night, it was a lot of hype. It was a lot of excitement. But let's start real quick, just some quick hitters with the first game of the day, which we're on Pacific time, me and you. So it was like 10 a.m.
Girl, I was like making my breakfast. Like,
like, I love this 10 a.m. tip off.
Yeah.
But we had Mist and we had a first look at Hive. The Mist won that game. And the Mist towards the bottom of the pile last year, which surprised me. And I think Stewie went this year and was like, okay, I need a better team. We're going to get me a loaded, stacked team. And that's exactly what she got. What kind of stood out to you from the Mist and the Hive game?
Well, first off, I think it was pointed out to me by Maddie, or on Twitter by Maddie Kenny, who covers Liberty for the New York Post. I think Stewie hit a game winner yesterday, or the first day of the season, and she also hit the Mist first game winner of Unrivaled last season too. So there's something about Stewie and these like first games that she just likes. But I think I completely agree. Look, like you have one of the co-founders who wants to do well. And I know we'll talk more about Nafisa in a little bit, but like you look at last year, how the Lunar Owls fared her team, and they were tremendous through the regular season. And I think Stewie's like, that's supposed to be me too. And so you see the adjustments that the Mist were able to make. I think that they're a really good team. I like Veronica Burton. She has like a lot of 3-on-3 experience. She just did the AmeriCup a couple months ago. Alicia Gray, oh my God. Like another girl who was on that AmeriCup team who just, again, her one-on-one game, like her ability, her handles, everything about, like, she's just built for 3-on-3 basketball. I feel. And so I think that those three, and then Arike Gumbawala as well, like they just have a team that really works for the style of 3-on-3 basketball. And so I have them finishing way higher than they did last year. I think that they're going to be a much, much better version of the Mist than they were a year ago.
I think so too. And can we just say, Alicia Gray, she had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, but she is just the cutest, most adorable person alive. And I put this on TikTok and I did not know that Alicia Gray got braces, and that somehow just made her even more of a cutie patootie, because we know she's a bucket getter, but her post-game interview, you're just going to smile the whole time as she's talking about getting 21 points. Like, she is such a scorer, but she's just cheesing and adorable the whole time. So I just had to say that. I love Alicia Gray.
Everything sounds better in a deep Southern accent. As a Californian, I'm like, anytime I go to the South, everything's a little sweeter there with the accent.
I know. I love it. I love her. And you're so right. The Veronica Burton arc is one of my favorite stories in sports. Like, it, from being waived to being on Team USA's 3x3 team to coming in here and showing that you belong and being amongst some of the best WNBA players and getting that nod of respect. And what she did with the Valkyries, I just love this trajectory. And I think that Unrivaled is only going to make her better. She finished with 14 points, 8 rebounds. It's just been so fun to see her shine.
Yeah, I think that she's going to be a great example of what the development aspect of Unrivaled could give players, because that's something that they really try and emphasize is, we're competing for a trophy and money and a championship, but we also want this to be a development hub. And they doubled out on that by bringing new trainers and additional trainers and development coaches this season. So I'm really excited to watch her progression through this Unrivaled season. And then again, like how that correlates to when she's back with the Valkyries next year. Can she take that next step? Because, like, not to go too down down a rabbit hole, but like the Valkyries are another team. They have to one up themselves next W season. And she's going to be a really big part of how they're able to do that.
Mm-hmm. The other part is a member of the Hive, my girl, Monique Billings,
Yes.
just showed everybody what we all know and love about her game is that she is a workhorse. She is going to outwork you anytime that she steps on the floor. And her 16 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double in her first Unrivaled matchup is super impressive and just shows that, yes, this is the right place for her. I think 3-on-3 basketball is perfect for her because she can guard multiple positions. I think that's what really sticks out to her. But the Hive is they're gonna come along. I think this is a good group. I think this is a good group.
It's a fun team. The thing with the Hive, they're a smaller team,
They
relative to some others. They
Mhm.
don't have that the true bigs. I think here, like Monique Billings and Ezzy, they're the tallest women on that team. But they have a chance to be really quick, which we know like works well with this. I mean, I think Natasha Hyman's one of the quickest players in the league. You Kelsey Mitchell, who was tremendous during the W season, Sonia Citron, right? Like, I agree. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time. Maybe all of these players are pretty new to Unrivaled as a sport as well, and as a team. True. So I think I have my eye on them too, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's such a good point because Alicia Gray said that in her post game with Roz. She was saying, not only playing 3-on-3 has helped me, but playing in Unrivaled has helped me because I know how the game flows, where to get my spots, how important the third quarter is, because we know that the fourth quarter is so important with a target score. So just having that in the back of your mind is already a leg up. And a lot of those players on Hive are trying to figure it out as they go.
Yeah.
But I'm never counting out Kelsey Mitchell because she's
proven us never to do that ever, 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 ever.
We know that. Okay, we have more game recaps, but let's take a quick break and pay some bills, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. We're still talking Unrivaled because we're still giddy, kicking our feet from day one of action. And let's go into the laces and vinyl for season 2. I loved how, for vinyl specifically, Teaspoon has made an emphasis that this is De'Erica Hamby's team. She is slept on still as such a great player. Remember, she is an Olympic 3-on-3 athlete. And she might be a little flying under the radar, maybe disrespected. And Teaspoon made it very clear that no, she is our go-to player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that dates back to last season too. I remember talking to De'Erica in Miami and Teaspoon about their team, and everything was through her. And I think also they built such a good relationship and coach to player relationship too, that they want to emphasize that. I like the vinyl too. I think that they have a really good team. You have De'Erica. I think Ryan Howard is she's so good. All these players are obviously, but there's something about Ryan.
But they're so good.
I know. I'm going to say that 20,000 times. So let's just say it goes without saying. But you and I have talked about Ryan again during her W season and her 3-point shooting and just the way that she continues to elevate herself. And then you have a girl like Ray Burrell. And I think again, it just works. I'm curious to see how Brittany Griner, does in Unrivaled. I don't know, last season, if it necessarily fit her as well. But in season 2, something you can grow, you can evolve. But again, I think De'Erica Hamby is another player made for this style of play. In general, she's she is an under the radar kind of player. So I like this group, and hey, they proved a lot of people wrong last year and made it very far in the postseason, which people didn't necessarily expect them to do. And I do remember talking to some of those players about Teaspoon as their coach and the amount of respect that Teaspoon has. I think it's second to none in Unrivaled. And I think that that's also going to make this team very good and threatening down the road.
Oh, yeah. And they're fun to watch. I mean, they had a really, really good start to this game. They had an 11-point second quarter lead, but then the Laces ended up winning and snatching that lead away, and they won it 58-42. Brittany Sykes Okay, we already know. We already know. But I love how there's like this slight storyline of maybe she has a chip on her shoulder for not getting that roster spot saved on the Rose. Sure, let's roll with it. Anything to get Brittany Sykes hype. I don't think she needs a lot, but sure, let's add to the fire.
Oh my God, she's
19
so fun.
points, 7 rebounds. She went on a run by herself. And that is something in this league that you can very much do. If you have the hot hand, they are going to keep feeding you. But I feel like Jackie Young was that person in the first half. So they have those two guards who are also so good on the defensive end, both there. And Alyssa Thomas did not have that great of a game. Like, that's wild. And they were still able to pull it out. So the Laces, I see you. The Laces fans were in my comments. I understand why.
So I ranked the Laces as number 1 in my little preseason power ranking of Unrivaled teams. And the thing about them, because like, you're right, Slim, she went, like she won that game for them. I look at the so many Atlanta Dream girls in this league, but I look at Jordan Canada and Naz Hillman again. Like they were so good in their W season, also like played well in Unrivaled. I think, injury. This team last year was just injury riddled. Jordan Canada got hurt. Both Jackie Young and Alyssa Thomas barely got to play any time. But on paper, there's something about this team that, okay, you're small and shifty and have some speed, but you have two of the best defensive guards in the entire women's basketball like ecosystem, right? In AT and Jackie Young, who, by the way, are coming off of WNBA finals runs. So there's just something about it that feels, I'm like, you guys could be good. And I won't say it was like a no-brainer to put them at 1, because there were some other teams that I really wanted to put at 1 and then checked myself and I didn't. But I felt good about this just because I think that this is going to be an exciting team. I think they can win in so many different ways. And they have different players who on any given night can go off. Like you said, the fact that AT didn't even have that great of a game says something. So they're going to be good, I think.
Yeah, I think the number 1 team who is knocking at that door saying, why didn't you put us number 1 is Rose. And that's who I want to talk about next, because Rose over the Lunar Owls, Chelsea Gray was on a mission. First of all, they got to raise the first Unrivaled banner before the game, and they had to, celebrate last season's championship while also putting everyone on notice that we are still here and we are still gunning to go back to back. Chelsea Gray had 30 points. She could have had, how many assists did she end up with? 35 points, 8 assists. She could have easily had 10 assists. Azurá Stevens, she missed a couple of them layups, and I know they talked about it after, but Chelsea Gray looks healthy. She is the first player ever to have an Unrivaled championship, an Unrivaled finals MVP, and a WNBA championship all in the same calendar year. And it I don't know. I love watching the point guard work and do what she does best. And I just love how she just gets on that stage. The basketball court is her stage. And she's like, all right, I'm going to get some, then I'm going to pass to this person. Then, all right, you could take a shot this time. Then it was dominant performance.
It was the quintessential Chelsea Gray, like domination. She's so good. Like I keep saying, she's so good. No, it was so great to see her play like that. And just like you said, like this arc that she's also been on for the last like 12 months, the last calendar year, from where she was before that, and the way that she wasn't happy with how she was playing before, has been so great to watch. The thing with the Rose is like they were a prove 'em wrong type of team last year, and now like people. They've proven they were able to retain so many players too. Like they protected too, but they have 4 players that were on their team last year in Kalia Copper, Chelsea, Lexi Hull, Azurá Stevens. So having that core be able to come back, I think is huge. The question that I had for them entering this season was, how do you fare without Angel Reese? Because Angel was a really huge part of their offense last year, right? They fed everything to her down low when she was available and when they could. And I think that's the question that I had. But I mean, Chelsea said, no, I got it. And same with Audrey Stevens. I mean, she is another person who last season, I think, proved how good she can be in you add Shakira Austin, who also was in the Americup Team USA just a couple months ago, has that 3-on-3 experience and was around Unrivaled, I believe, last year too. So they're going to be a dangerous team too.
Yes.
I did have them in top 3 of my things too. So.
Okay. We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. I'm sure they are excited about that too. Shakira Austin is a great name to throw in here because, one, I love Shakira and I love how she has been able to get better ever since her rookie year in the WNBA. And last year in Unrivaled, she was on the Lunar Owls, I believe, but she was playing behind other posts. So she didn't get a ton of minutes. Now to be so into the mix and I just feel like she's walking around with her hands ready because you're playing on the court with the point guard, so you don't know when a pass is coming. But her 12 points, 6 rebounds, super solid. And coming in with that 3-on-3 experience is super helpful. You just know where to be on the court. Like that, you can't underestimate how that is. And also what type of shape you have to be in, because you guys, I was tired. I literally had to get up off my couch and get some water because I was tired watching them play. I couldn't imagine the type of shape because it's nonstop. We are going back and forth, back and forth. And if nobody calls a timeout, if there's no fouls, we're still sprinting. We are running the entire time. So that knowledge is super, super helpful. And I love what the Rose did. I think Nola Henry is doing a great job having that retention, having that unity, coming off that championship run is priceless to compare to other teams trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams trying to figure it out, on the other end of that was the Lunar Owls. Womp womp. Injuries suck. That's the worst thing. I did not know. And I don't know if you know what exactly is up with Skylar Diggins, why she didn't suit up. But once I saw her not playing, I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
That was not great.
Yeah.
And then Aaliyah Edwards was having a great game. She was really the one keeping them in the game. She had 23 points, 12 rebounds, but then had a nasty fall and hope she's okay. She was able to walk off by her own, but that would be another injury for the Lunar Owls already in day one. And then, of course, Napheesa Collier. Tell us what's up with Fee.
Yeah.
Super bummed that she's going to miss this season.
Yeah. She's, as you said, missing this season with 2 ankle surgeries, one on both ankles. And it's going to happen this week in New York. And she, she'll still be around Unrivaled. I'm told that's her goal, is to be there as a founder in a founder role, as a captain and teammate of the Lunar Owls. And of course, like the CBA negotiations, she wants to still be in those conversations with all those players. I think what stands out to me about the news about Napheesa and her operations is that one of them is, of course, dealing with the ligament tears that she suffered in that second round loss to the degree where she collided with AT. You missed the rest of the series, which only went one more game. But the other ankle dates back to the ankle sprain that she suffered in Vegas. I think that was in July. And I was told that she suffered a ligament tear in that too. And, there's a lot going on during that time of season. That's when A'ja Wilson's making this incredible push in her campaign for MVP. The Lynx are still winning, but you want to make sure that everyone's in prime condition for the postseason. Now, I also want to say those injuries were completely unrelated. But like the ankle injury that she then suffered in the playoffs wasn't because her other ankle was sprained a couple months prior. Just want to make that clear. But it was, she was still feeling it. She was still feeling the first ankle sprain. comes back, hurts her other ankle, and the progress that she wanted to see, that her doctors, her teams, her trainers all wanted to see wasn't happening. So at that point you say, okay, what do we do? And from the conversations that I've had with people is that she's happy to at least have a clear direction forward. There's no more waiting or wondering or hoping, okay, like hopefully it gets better. There is a clear plan put in place. And I think that just helps the psyche a little bit more.
Yeah.
But of course, 4 to 6 month recovery time, who knows when the W season is going to start.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yes, it does it could depend if it is the latter and pushes more towards a 6-month recovery. If the W season happens to start on time, it does put her preseason training camp, early season availability at risk as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, crushing. First of all, when I said both ankles, when I saw that is a total different timeline of recovery that I'm sure she has ever been through. So this is like a new round of recovery, which is so tough. And I mean, of course I'm bummed because she played extremely well last season. It was a dream to be able to watch Napheesa Collier not only just have a league built for her type of play and for the player that she is and her excel in that, but also in the one-on-one competition. Then it transitioned into her WNBA season. So it sucks as a fan, but I hear you in this clear direction forward, because that's what her statement said. It was the advice that she got, that this was the best thing to do at this point in her career where she can still recover, can still bounce back. And technically, like, this is the off season. So this would be the time for her to do something like this. But we're feeling it as fans, but the Lunar Owls are also feeling it, not having Fee on the court with them.
Yeah, I had the Lunar Owls ranked higher than I do now when Fee went out. And it is a testament to like how well she did last year, right? And like the tandem of her and Skylar were just unstoppable. Literally, like they lost 2 games all year. They were unstoppable. And so to me, like, it didn't matter that they had a lot of other roster turnover, because if you had Skylar and you had Napheesa, chances are you have a pretty good odds to win.
Yeah.
And now they have a lot of figuring out to do, especially like we don't know how long Skylar is going to be out for, if that was just a 1 game or if that's an extended thing. Then, as you mentioned, Aaliyah Edwards, but it's tough, and it's good that they have the development pool team there. This is why they made the development team.
They might have to already pull from the development team. My goodness. But they do have Marina Mabry. Hopefully Aaliyah Edwards is okay. And would it be Marina Mabry if we didn't already have a little bit of a dust up in day one with Sug Shetton? Really on brand. If anything, Marina is going to stick to her brand. And
I'm told consistency is key. That's what I've been told. So, hey, I'll take it.
I saw something on social where Skylar, who of all people, was like, I'm happy she's on our team and I don't have to go up against her. And we didn't get to see. That is a lot of fire when they are both on the same team. And Marina was in Unrivaled, but she was injured last year. So I think this is also going to be great for her game, for us as fans to be able to see her throughout this and see her develop. On the offensive end, we know what she can do, getting her shot, shooting the 3, but also on the defensive end and being a facilitator. I'm really interested to see how those grow her game as well. Lunar Owls, this is a time for it's room for improvement. And you know what we say? Rose started 1-7 to begin their last season, and then they were able to storm back. So we ain't counting you out yet. I'll say that. Okay. The nightcap of day one was the Breeze and the Phantom. This was also like the closest game of the day, and we all had it circled. We were so excited. Paige Bueckers' Breeze and Kelsey Plum's Phantom. Did it live up to the hype, Kendra?
Yes. I mean, short answer, I can be short-winded there, is yes.
Yeah.
We'll start with the Phantom, I guess, because we already talked a little bit about Paige, but just to give the Phantom some love. I mean, Kelsey Plum, like she was supposed to play in Unrivaled in the first season, but she didn't. The Phantom were the worst team in the league last year. And so even just starting off on a better foot than last year. And then you look at the roster, and again, it is an exciting roster. Right? Kelsey gets a lot of attention, right? Aaliyah Boston, I mean, come on. Like she is one of those bigs where she just has her way. She can do whatever she wants. And again, in this type of setting, like there's just no chance. There's no chance you're going to stop her. And then you get into the depth of it all. Natasha Cloud, you got Tip Hayes, Kiki Irfan. It's a really deep team. And I'm excited to see them continue to build and see what this group can do. I think they still have some like ways to go because it is early on. And it's another newer group put together. They're without like Satu Sabali was supposed to return for this team. She's also out as she continues to deal with lingering symptoms from the concussion that she suffered in the finals, which is so unfortunate. We don't have a clear timeline for her right now. But again, like I think that there's potential for this group here. And like you said, it was the most exciting game of the day yesterday. And so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I love this reoccurring thing with Tiffany Hayes where, you know, she was the replacement for Satu and she's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll play. And then she completely turns up and does what she has been doing forever in scoring and being a bucket, showing off her grill. Playing basketball in a grill is crazy. You are insane. And that is exactly what Tip Hayes is. So another person staying to their brand and being shifty and quick and can score at a very high volume. Another person who has 3x3 experience, and it shows. It shows. I love what you said about Aaliyah Boston. Her efficiency is super high. She was on vinyl last year, I believe. And so now coming over, she's kind of that 1A option in the post. And you can see that it looks great. Yeah. But she had to go up against some tall height on the other end in a Cameron Brink and a Dom Malonga and a Paige Bueckers and a Rickea Jackson.
That team. Oh my God.
Breeze is stacked. We have to talk about it. What?
I'm not going to lie to you. Again, when I'm doing these, like, I considered them for the best team, but I just didn't because I was like, it's too new. But like, it's the most exciting team to watch, and it is not a knock again on any other roster. There's just something so exciting about the youth. And knowing Paige, Dom, and Cam are going to be the future of this league. And you can also throw Rickea Jackson's name in there as well. They're going to be around for a very long time. And it's what you said about Paige when we were first talking about this, that she actually said about Malonga, which is this is the worst she's ever going to be. Right. Yes. And that's so crazy to think about. And it's just like, you know, she wasn't able to play last year because of her injury. She missed the first couple months of the W season. It's just, I'm just so excited to see how these young stars come along. And there's something about when you team them up that makes it even more like, we've never seen them play with each other on Team USA, or did they used to be teammates in the W? Were they on the same all-star team? It is so unknown. And I think that just feeds into this like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. This is awesome.
I feel the exact same way. It's youth. It's young legs. It's just like this excitement that comes that I think it just reminds ourselves of when we were young and playing our favorite thing in the world. And I think that's what it gets me excited, because you just see how much fun they're having. You also see how much fun Noelle Quinn is having coaching this young group. I love that report about this is the youngest group that she's ever had. And she's having to kind of go deep in her bag to like go back to the fundamentals, even of her coaching, which is super fun. Everybody wants that challenge.
Yeah.
And I love how it's playing out. This game was very back and forth. They went on different runs, but Breeze was able to pull it out 69-62, ending on a free throw, a little less exciting. But at least Paige got us going into halftime. She gave us a buzzer beater going into halftime. That fed us for a while.
It did.
But I think the question mark with Breeze, and I want your opinion on this, is fouls. And this has been Cameron Brink's story ever since she was at Stanford and covered her with the Pac-12. How do you be a defensive stopper without fouling? And I believe it was either 3 or 4 fouls in that first half for Cameron Brink. And that was even the story in the preseason game that wasn't televised. How does she fix that? Like, that is going to be a catalyst for her in this. She also knows this format. This isn't new to her. She would have gone to the Olympics if she didn't get injured. So how does that get tweaked?
Yeah, it's a discipline. I don't like. I feel like it's a discipline thing, right? And you hear, because you just hear people talk about it from so many different like playing levels or playing in different leagues, whether it's, you know, the NBA, college, wherever it is. And it's just from what I've been told by coaches or players, it's like, you do so well for this, let's say 24-second shot clock. You do well for 22 seconds. And then you think, and then just don't do it. Just don't hold yourself. Like, you have to hold that instinct back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not holding yourself back. It's doing good. But it is just that, like, don't reach. I don't know if that's a mentality thing. I don't know if that's something that you just tell people over and over and over again. But I think it's just trying to put yourself in the best position to defend well for 22 seconds. And then on those last 2, just stay with that same thing that you've had for the last 22 seconds. And, you know, you hope that, as you mentioned, like, she has played in 3-on-3 before. So you hope that this can continue to give that like learning space for her. Maybe, you know, Noelle Quinn has something in her repertoire as a coach who's coached more veterans. Again, maybe that's a challenge for her to say, okay, how do I teach a younger player this that maybe some of the more like veteran players that I coached didn't have? The thing with Unrivaled that, you know, we heard different aspects of the game, but I just remember Angel talking about last year was the ability to pick the brains of so many other players who play the same position or just have something to teach that you don't usually get to learn from because you're their competitor for 7 months or 6 months out of the year. And so maybe that's another thing that Cam will have at her disposal. These players who are elite defenders. You have one of the co-defensive players of the year, you know, at Unrivaled. Are there things that she's not thinking of that a different player can say, hey, I have this issue early in my career too, and here's what it is. But I do think, as you said, it's kind of like nice that it's been such an issue through 2 games, because then you can say that's the issue I need to fix throughout the rest of the season.
For sure. And you talked about getting advice. Like, Lisa Leslie is there.
She's there.
We saw her working with Cam a little bit, and Lisa Leslie said it on the call. You know, sometimes they're going to get past you, and in this type of format, you just got to let it go.
Yes.
And then get the ball out of bounds and keep moving, because you're more valuable on the floor than on the bench. And that is what we continue to say about Cameron Brink. And you brought up a good point, because with her experience in FIBA, a lot of people may not know, but fouls are different in FIBA 3x3 than in Unrivaled. For FIBA, it's just team fouls, and there are team fouls, and then you get penalized for as more team fouls you get. The other team gets either 1 free throw or 2 free throws and the ball if you get in bonus. But it's not the sense of you can foul out or get personal fouls. So yes, your team would kind of struggle if the other team continues to go to the free throw line or if it's in a crunch time moment, but you as a player are not penalized. And so that is a big difference that I just realized could be a mental difference when you're saying, okay, 3x3, I can just block everybody's shot. Maybe I get a foul here or there, but it's not on me. And now in Unrivaled, it is. And she had to sit for a huge chunk of time that we would love to have her on the floor. And also her team needed her on the floor to set those screens, to defend the rim, to get easy baskets underneath. So I love that this is happening now. We can fix it. We can correct it and see and make those tweaks. But I'll say one thing. Dom Malonga, we know that she is going to be a future star in the W, but I am so happy that we are getting to see more of her during these months in Unrivaled. She got a double-double in her first Unrivaled game, and a dunk is coming, Kendra. It's coming, and Paige is going to throw the lob, and it is going to be incredible, heard around social media airwaves, and I can't wait. It's coming.
We had a dunk in Unrivaled last year. I think I think that there's why not? Let's make it Malonga. I think another advantage for Malonga is she is working with her rookie year coach, and no Noelle Quinn, she won't be back, in Seattle, but there is something of the continuation of it. I think that's so important for young players. And again, it's not necessarily where they're game planning for what they're going to do in Seattle next year, but there is something that can be said of, hey, that we were already talking about this last year.
Yeah.
Let's keep on developing. Let's keep on growing here. And that's just going to set you up for more success for next year in Seattle. And I think that's could be helpful for Dom too.
I love it. Okay, well, I told you that I am a Breeze fan. I said this before the games. I'll put that out there. But I was just riding with. I didn't pick a team last year, and I realized that's kind of fun. I want to be a fangirl for a little bit, so I picked a team. I'm not making you pick a team, but if you are doing your power rankings, do you have a new number one for your power rankings?
I think I'd put Rose as like my day one number one, and Breeze would be two. And then Lace is probably three, just because if this is going to be Chelsea all year long. Is she gonna be what Nafisa was last year? You know what I mean? I'm so curious to see if there is one player that dominates, especially with Nafisa not playing. I'm so curious to see if a different player is going to emerge as the runaway MVP, or if there's going to be a little competition. But again, based off of 8 games yesterday, four games, 8 teams yesterday. Chelsea's on a whole other level right now.
Totally fair. And Becky Hammond and Nikki Fargas were there in Miami, and I just bet Becky was beaming. That's my point guard. I'm so happy she's on my team.
Exactly.
And you guys are all jealous and mad, and you talked a lot of mess. People were counting Chelsea Gray out last year somehow, saying she was washed. No. The point guard is still very much here and very much prominent. I'm also excited that there's going to be Friday games, Saturday games, Sunday games, Monday games. It is going to be weekends full of Unrivaled. And we have, of course, the Philly weekend coming January 30th. But we are going to break down Unrivaled every single week. That's why we have a new recording day, because we don't want to miss any of the action. So stick around with us all season long, because it's going to be fun. Unrivaled it's going to be great. I love it. All right, we're going to take another break. Then when we come back, we still got some CBA talk to talk about. That's still a thing. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. And we are recording this on January 6th. So that means, Kendra, the CBA deadline is only a couple days away. And it doesn't feel like how I thought we would feel around this time, which is okay, we're just waiting for the ink to dry. But that is so far from it. We are still very much in negotiations, and it's January. Are you starting to panic yet? Should we panic? I'm kind of panicking a little, just a little.
It's hard. It's hard. It's a little bleak. I think it's one of those things where the last CBA, they needed extensions, as they've done here. In fact, at one point, the agreement expired and they continued to negotiate and they've got it done. And that's what we're, kind of similar pattern so far. It hasn't expired yet, but that's on the table. The difference is that, and I did not report on the last negotiations, but the two sides in this one seem still so far on separate sides of the aisle, and that's where it is a little bit concerning. It's in, again, you said this is the 6th today. In 3 days is the deadline. From what I'm being told, unlikely that a new deal is put in place by then. And so it's this big question of, okay, well, then what?
Yeah.
And I think that's the concerning question. And what, at this point, this far into negotiations, what has to happen for either side to start inching towards the middle? And I like, there is not much to say there. We don't know because both are standing very firm in both of their spaces. And it's very unclear who will give and who will give on what and what it will take for someone to give. All of that is very, very unknown right now.
Yeah, something's got to give. Something's got to give. And I don't want it to be from the player side because I am totally rooting for them. But at the same time, we want a season to happen. And I know both sides of the aisle want a season to happen. So how do we figure that out? How do we get there in the middle? The last episode of the Women's Hoop Show, me and Cheryl really dove home the point about housing because that was a huge point, about a month ago. But now it's still about the revenue share. It's still about salaries. It's still about the players wanting and fighting for what they feel they deserve, as they should. And, Nafisa Collier is at the center of this because she's on the executive committee, but also because she keeps having her foot on the league's neck by her comments and just being very outspoken for representing what the players need. And during the broadcast, during that Lunar Owls game, I want to read the full quote that she said. Lisa Leslie asked her about the CBA negotiations during a timeout. And here's what she said. Being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can. She also said, I do think a deal's gonna get done, but we're standing firm in what we believe in. We're not going to back down. We can't take less. The sport has just grown too much. It would be a disservice to the people who came before us. I mean, there's Media Train and then there's Nafisa Collier. Like, it's just a whole nother level. What an incredible quote that she just said off the top of her head. What were your thoughts?
It's complicated. It's really, really complicated, all of this. And it's a lot because both like the PA and the union and the league are both throwing out proposals, and there's a lot of numbers happening, and something that my colleague Alexa Philippou reported last week is that sources familiar with the negotiations said that the W is projecting that a proposal made by the union would result in $700 million in losses for the W, which can't happen. And so it's this toggle, right, of increase salaries and figure out what the revenue sharing system is, but we have to keep the WNBA sustainable. And it's proving to be really tricky to do that. So I think, Nafisa is continuing what the players have been standing on, and they're continuing to show that unity and what they're unwavering in. And I think the business model of the WNBA is a beast, and it's complicated, and there's a lot of nuances that go into how to make that business very successful. That might be different than Unrivaled. And so I think it's hard. You can't, it's apples and oranges, you know, they're all fruit, but they're different fruits. And I think that that's where these negotiations get really tricky, because both sides are proposing different things, but there's still so much that they're disagreeing on. What even is what is the revenue? Do you want gross revenue or do you want net revenue? Because the players are asking for gross and the league is proposing net. And so there's just so many different things that it's like, if you can't even agree on that, that's a whole, there's just so many nuances. And every time I have a conversation with, whether it's with you or with other people, whether it's, you know, sort whoever, I just have 10,000 more questions than I walked in. And
every single time. Yeah. Every single time. It is one of those things where you ask questions, you get answers, and you immediately ask 5 more questions, because so many things go together. Like that point of what you said. The league is saying $700 million in losses, but then the players union is coming back and saying that's false. We're not including expansion fees. We're not including, it is down to the dollar, and we are getting really granular in how we're talking about this, but it's also these players' livelihoods. So they have a right to fight for that and get the most out of that. Yeah. But it's always this, I feel like Megan Rapinoe said it so well on her podcast with Sue Bird. And she talked about how it's the same with the NWSL. You need the league. The players need the league, and the league needs the players. Absolutely. Like, we need each other to be able to make the most amount of money. The league isn't making this amount of money if you don't have superstars playing in your league. The players aren't getting the same type of platform if they aren't playing in the best league in the world. So it's this thing where we need each other, but we're at such a pivotal point. I think people who maybe don't know the history,
I clocked that book in the back, don't you worry.
I'm pointing to Court Queens, a book on the history of women's basketball, is this idea that, you know, how did we get here? Did this just come overnight? Why are they begging for more money? Shouldn't they be grateful? No. There has been so much lead up to this. And that's why this CBA is so important for both sides, because it just feels like a pivotal, historic shift that has to happen. And the WNBA, I feel, could be in such a cool position to set a precedent for women's sports and for women's basketball, and prove that there is a belief that these players and this league and their fans can continue to pour millions of dollars into the league, which is what's gotten it to almost its 30th season, the longest standing professional league in the world. So, women's league. And so I am still hopeful. I'm holding out hope. I'm going to be one of the last people in line holding out hope. But I want everybody to hold out hope. I want us to just continue to lift up the players. I know that this is so hard because you're playing in Unrivaled. You're supposed to be having fun, doing all this content. But then your next couple months are looking a little gray. It's looking a little bleak. Like, I want to make sure I have a job lined up after this. Yeah. I know that is hard. So I'm going to be glued to my phone over these next couple of days. Hopefully Alexa will keep us in the news, in the know. But yeah, I just have my fingers crossed over here. That's all I got to say.
And, you know, I will also say, like, come Friday, that deadline, there's multiple different outcomes that we could see, like, as of Friday, right? We could miraculously get a new deal put in place. You could see another extension be filed. You could see, like I mentioned before, the last CBA, you could see the CBA, the current one, expire, no extension, but you can keep negotiating. You don't have to have that extension. And then, as we also know, a couple weeks ago, majority of the players in the league voted to give the EC, the executive committee, led by Nafisa and Nneka Ogwumike, Brianna Stewart, the rest of the executive committee, the power to call a strike. And so those are the four kind of most likely outcomes. I think three are more likely than one of them. But it kind of goes back to this question I had is, okay, well then what? Because if there isn't a new agreement, and if it is either an extension or you can continue to negotiate, okay, well then what? What do we have to do to get these two parties to see a little bit more eye to eye? And then the bigger and then what is, if there is a strike, what does that mean? Where do you go from there? What does that entail for who is allowed to talk to who and when like that just kind of spirals into this. Sorry, I won't overwhelm you with it now. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot. So much. And especially like I've been a part personally of, a company unionizing, and it was just so awkward. Like number one is just who do you talk to? Who's the ops? Like, is it your manager? Can you talk, in a basketball sense, is your coach? Is it the GM? Like, there's just so much communication that has to happen. And then it just becomes so weird and awkward. And like you said, the players, I want to make this clear because this can get confusing. The players could strike. A lockout means it comes from the league and the owners. So that's the differences between a strike and a lockout. We don't want either of those things to happen, but in case they do, I'm totally with you. What if? One last question, because I heard you report on this on the NBA Today. Does Adam Silver come in here and swoop in and like try to play savior, try to mend it all together? Like, is he involved? Where is he at?
Yeah, there's a possibility that he is, right? And it's something that he was asked about, I believe, in December, ahead of the NBA in-season tournament championship game. And he said, like, yeah, I'm willing to. And Mark Tatum, the deputy commissioner of the NBA, yeah, we're willing to. I don't know if that's imminent. I don't know if he's on his way right now to the PA to jump in before this January 9 deadline in a couple days from now, but it's on the table. I think, again, a question that you kind of ask is, okay, like, what is that going to do? Is it is it the players' unwillingness to work with Kathy, and that ultimately they want to work one-on-one with Adam? Like, I don't like this. That's just a question. I'm hypothesizing here. But it's certainly on the table. I think like getting Adam Silver involved though is kind of that's like going to the mega principal's office, and you'd like to be able to do it without that. And the W, and I think it's something that we've talked about on here before. It's like the W is in such an interesting position because it's really like the only professional sports league, at least stateside, that's like an entity of a different sports league. But there's something about being able to have it run like independently, but not independently, because obviously financially it's all tied together. But in terms of like people that you put in place, right? You put people in place, you want to keep them. You want to whatever the opposite of micromanage is. Yeah.
You'd want to be able to distribute the power.
Yeah, exactly.
And be able to have everyone say, Kathy, this is your thing. You got to run it. Don't make me have to step in. And the reason I ask is because, historically, David Stern, who was very much a former commissioner of the NBA and very much a part of the WNBA's founding, and he did have to step in, and he had to step in and be the bad guy and say, hey, if you don't make a deal by this date, then I'm closing the WNBA. And it was very much like, we're laying down the law, and it wasn't fun. And you don't want to, it makes it feel small, I guess. And I want the W to be able to say, no, we got this. We can figure this out with our money, with our revenue, and make sure that we do it well and not have, I don't feel like Adam Silver gives off David Stern vibes. Just want to put that out there. But I don't want him to have to come in and say, okay, I got it. And we saved the day. And now, all right, we can go on with our league. I want them to be able to figure it out. But the clock is ticking. It's ticking. I'm sorry to our listeners to leave you on a we'll see, but it truly is a we'll see.
You know what? That's the world that we've been living. Like they'll welcome to our world.
Seriously. Well, this was so much fun, per usual, yapping away. We could talk for 5 more hours at least. But we're going to be with you all season long. Thanks, Kendra. And I can't wait for you to come back.
I am so excited too. It's good to be back with you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can now see us on our brand new YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe there. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes, your burning questions, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We just might feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. Our producer is Phil Sweetek. Our video team is led by Kurt Courtney and includes Tim Meikle, Evan Cox, Allison Jeffrey, and Lauren Vieira. Our executive producers are Greg Holtzman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, Maddie Sprunkheiser, and Leah Reese-Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.